Hey folks, what's up? All right, so I discovered object.seal in the React code base, and I thought that was kind of interesting. So I decided to look into that and thought I'd show it to you. I knew about object.freeze, but in researching this, I also learned about object.preventExtensions. So I'm going to play around with it a little bit, and we can see kind of what the differences are here. So you can think of it as like three. From what I understand, you can think of it as three layers of solidifying an object. And for all three of these, it's only that object's direct properties. So if that object has children or has properties that are objects themselves, those objects will not be affected. It's just the properties of this one object. So it's not a deep application. It's shallow, if you want to think of it that way. So prevent extensions will just prevent new properties from being added to the object, and you can't extend the object. We'll look at what that does. Seal prevents new properties from being added, just like prevent extensions, and it makes existing properties non-configurable. We can look at what that is. And then values of present properties can be changed as long as they're writable, which is how it differs from object.freeze, which basically prevents objects from being added, deleted, changed, anything. Any properties on that object cannot be modified in any way. So we're going to say var obj1 equals, I guess, how do you apply that thing? Click on it. There's got to be a keyboard shortcut for that. Let's do arrow. There we go. Arrow and then tab. Cool. Okay, that works, I guess. So then we can say object dot prevent extensions on obj1. And now if I say obj1 dot a equals hi, obj1 dot a is hi. But if I say obj1 z equals whatever, obj1.z, don't get anything. So I can't extend this object with any other properties. And even if I try object define property on obj1, and the property key can be, we'll do z, and then here's our property configuration. Value is whatever, and writable is true, and whatever else. Here, let's look up define property really quick because I can't remember what all. Yeah, writable. There are other properties here in the configurable, enumerable, value, writable, get, and set. So default's default. Yeah. Let's make it enumerable, true, and configurable. That defaults to false. We'll just say configurable is true. I'm pretty sure that when you what we just did here is this is basically the equivalent for what we just did. So if I try to do that, then I cannot define property z. Object is not extensible. So trying to assign properties on a prevent extension, or actually you've got object dot is extensible. So a non-extensible object, obj1, that is not extensible. If I do like just any object, by default an object is extensible. So yeah, by making an object not extensible, I can attempt to add properties to that object, and that just doesn't work. And then if I attempt to define a property on that object, then I get a type error. So that is, I think, as much as I'm going to talk about prevent extensions. Let's take a look at, here I'm going to just refresh, and we'll start on a clean slate with obj1, and we'll say object dot seal obj1. All right, so now if I say obj1 dot a equals hi, then obj1 dot a is hi. Cool. Okay, so I can modify existing properties. If I say z is yo, then I get obj1, z is still undefined. And here I'm just going to up, try to define property on it, and nope, not extensible. Let's see, hold on a second. From being added to it. Let's see. Oh, shoot. Yeah, I should have shown that. Okay, so here's the difference. So far they're basically the same. So I say object dot is sealed obj1. Okay, so this is the sealed thing. Let's see, is extensible obj1. It's also false. So sealing it also prevents it from being extended. So if I say, here, let's go back up, we'll do the define property thing. And instead of Z, we're going to do A, because that is a property that obj1 has. We're going to get a type error. So let me refresh this now, and we'll go back up to this, and we'll say object.preventExtensions on obj1. And then we try to do this define property on a property that it has. That will work. So that's the difference between seal and preventExtensions, is that with preventExtensions, as long as the property is still there, you can redefine it. You can so because obj1 has a property A, we can define that property and configure it. Basically, we can configure it. Whereas with a, let's go back up here. Whoops. With a sealed, let's object.seal obj1. If we try to define that property, we're going to get a type error. Cannot redefine property. So that's the difference between those two. Seal just disallows configuring existing properties. Okay, sweet. So let's refresh here. I'm going to redefine this. We'll say object.freeze obj1. And now if I say obj1.a equals high, I'm going to get no error, but obj1.a is not high. So you can't make changes. If I do try to configure an existing property, I'm going to get that same error that we got with seal. So it's sealed. In fact, if we say object.is sealed on obj1, it is sealed. It is also is extensible. It's also not extensible, and it also is frozen. So it's sealed, it's not extensible, and it's frozen. So each layer going from preventExtensions, it disallows you from doing certain things. Seal disallows you from doing all those same things plus one, and freeze disallows you from doing all those same things plus another. So yeah, I think that's pretty much it. One thing I should say is obj1. Here, let's look at that. We've got an object called C, and that has a property called D, and I can assign that, whoops, A, to anything that I want, and that totally is fine. So that none of these will go deep on the properties. It just is shallow, so it only applies to if I wanted to reassign the object C to something else, even if it looks the same. Well, I'm not going to get an error, but hey, it doesn't actually change. And if I tried to configure it with define property, it would throw an error as well. So that is that. There is npm im deep freeze. So if you wanted to apply this deeply to an object, actually, I don't think that it's all that. Okay, somebody's going to ask me, this view on unpackage, this is a Chrome extension. I can't remember what it is, but just look for a Chrome extension for npm unpackage, you'll find it. But yeah, if we look at this, that's all that it is. It takes an object, it freezes that object, then it gets all of its own properties and goes through those. And if they're correct, or if they're an object, I guess, then it will deep freeze that property. It keeps on going. So yeah, probably wouldn't want to do this. Oh, actually, no, it would be fine to do this on a recursive object because it would be frozen. That'll break. So yeah, you're good there. Yeah, I think that's it. Kind of cool. So when would you use these? So yeah, I guess, I don't know, when you want to pass an object around that you don't want people to mess with. As far as performance, I don't even know. I don't really care. I don't write a lot of code that ever causes performance issues. Most of my performance issues are around how much code I'm loading. And so I focus my performance efforts around something else. So I wouldn't worry about performance implications here. Yeah, it's cool. All right. I'm gonna peace out. Does anybody have any questions before I do that? I think you're probably a couple seconds behind me, so I'm gonna keep talking and see if anybody has questions. Everybody's just saying hi and thanks. I'll just go ahead and say you're welcome. Okay, I'm not getting any questions, so I'm going to jump out. It was awesome. I will see you all next time. Bye.